It'll be interesting to see, and the timing of the rain will really affect whether the medium runners try and just stretch it out and go to the inters, or if they're also going to have to do the two-stop. The soft runners, they have no choice really. Like you would expect them to have, they have to do their stop and get onto the medium tyre.
Would you like a giggle?
Always.
I've just been told the in-game Jeff has told one of the drivers that rain is expected in 5 minutes.
Oh.
The banter is real.
Why does this happen to me? I'm so concerned and confused.
The lights are on, the lights have gone out, but the drivers will be sat on there waiting now. The lights have gone out properly for them and they are away. Coming up towards turn 1 then, there's a Renault that's gone very tight to the inside. I believe that is Corsac, but already we're looking at Ghetto and going for a move down the inside and towards turn 1. Surely he's not going to make a 2-car jump. He's trying his best though. There's a mistake made. That's Hugo's, I believe, has lost out a lot there. But I think Samir has also been sent off to the grass as well. More contact, more wing going flying. Lots of carnage going on left, right and centre. And Alfa Romeo's gone as well. Vanier and Corsac have had big collision and 5-second penalty has been issued to Vanier. And a virtual safety car has been called.
There was a little bit of a nudge there in the back of Yonte by the looks of things, and I think he's now damaged his wing. Yes, he has. He's got wing damage now. So, just caught out by how early Yonte broke by the looks of things. But he is continuing on and trying to get onto the back of his teammate.
Corsac also has left end plate damage. Oh, sorry, I saw some Yonte go into the pits. I thought he was telling me to run about the house damage, but Samir just very quickly sent it down the inside of Corsac there and actually made that one work quite nice. I think the drivers are a little bit concerned at the jittering. Oh no, big contact! Danny Coe gets into the back of spinning Dennis there, who has retired from the race, and a safety car has been called. Oh no.
But I wouldn't be surprised if something strange is happening. Jeff's no all, after all.
Yeah, it's true. We are waiting for the pack to bunch back up again. We have another Danico into the pits.
That's not what we thought was happening, so the soft runners might have actually been onto a winner here.
You know what? It's Corsac. I appreciate you, mate. That means a lot. But we are racing once more. Away we go. I cannot get a good camera angle because apparently we're looking at wheels is what we're looking at. But Ghetto is actually doing a very good job of staying close to the back of Vexit. The soft tyres for Copy, so they might start to come to life actually as things go further on. Into the pits, Corsac goes, and a DNF. He has retired. Very well done from him. But yeah, the track is starting to get a little bit wet. Not too wet. It's only very, very, very light rain. Jeff is actually the one with the brain cells. It has been confirmed.
Brave move to try and go for it there. Looks like he's backing out. Just going to stay and get him on the straight. Although Alex has went a little bit deep, so it's nice and easy for Coffee to slide up the inside.
You know what? Mind punt there from Coffee. That was very, very smart. I like that. Just puts the ERS into overtake, flies down the inside, even on the harder compound tyre. It makes that look pretty easy indeed. And up now to P8. Yonte will be asking his teammate. He's got a very close gap to him now. The toe being fully utilised here, staying right in. And look at the pace difference. Copy just cruises past him. That was fantastic. He has to be running 1-1 wings, surely.
He did call it correctly. Maybe he had the exact time.
Oh, Copy! My word, that was so close. He very nearly ran into the back of Sapso there, and he's now actually very much in the gearbox of him. Much grippier tyres on the softs, and he seems to be a lot more comfortable than Sapso is. Rain does fall hard enough. They will need to make sure they're in the right place at the right time to get onto the right tyres. Oh, Vexit! That was very close. You could see the opportunity forming, and he saw the opportunity forming, but he managed to read it quick enough and well enough to back out. And again, I'm actually thinking about becoming religious if this is how he gets treated. Someone chucked me a Bible. I want to hopefully get a good exit through here. That looks too good. Sapso's the worst exit though. Exit now should. Oh, he's actually got the ERS mode in overtake. He realizes he has to go now, and he's actually going to try it. Going down the inside in the lead up towards Spoons. That Sapso does not put up a fight, and I think that was the right decision to make. Vexit up now to P4. Get on, try and not close in too quickly. Sure, this is going to be a do it on the brakes. Sapso is backed out early. That's the right decision. Submit it through now. Vexit already on the back. And, Brownie is in. He's decided I cannot take these softs any further. Now I have problems. Speaking of problems, he also he's going quite far down, isn't he? You're pushing constantly. Gets on. He's very fired up looking for Vexit. Vexit realizes has to go defensive. This might allow Get On to go around the outside or go for a switch back of Dreams, but Vexit's held himself on both the apexes. That has stopped Get On from getting through. And Vexit will stay P3 once more, and Hugo's is just loving this because now the man himself, Mr. Cody Lawrence, or some idiot as we know him, he is right here on this train now in P5. Imagine the scenes if some idiot managed to slip past these boys and snatch a P2 away. Just imagine the scenes.
Some idiot getting that podium.
Well, I mean, the podium looks very plausible. Obviously, he's going to jump Yonti with that time penalty. Obviously, that still keeps him P4. But it is going to be, I don't want to say easy, but a good opportunity. Here is Vexit once more. I think Yonti tends to run these low downforce setups in general anyway, which does allow him to be a charisma style on the straights. Oh, Vexit down the inside. He's trying it. He's trying his best. Again, he cannot quite make it. Danico in the pits. Yonti made a mistake. Oh, Vexit is through. Now Geto is going to need to try and get a move done quickly as well. He's going to have to force this because he's going to lose the win. If he doesn't, well, not the win, P2, whatever, but he's going to have to try and get past him here. He's going to try and stick it through. He cannot. Also, watch some idiot here because he will also smell blood and see, yes, I can now get himself onto that podium. This would be fantastic if he could. He's got to slip through, though. I think he will do it.
Yeah, he's got to, Geton's got to do this on the back straight. He absolutely needs to get Yonti and get back onto Vexit. But yeah, as you say, some idiot, he also will need to do the same.
Right onto the back of Hugo's here. I think Vexit's actually going to go for a move here. Look how close he is. There's almost no way Hugo's can defend this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult one for him, but he's doing what he can. He's moving to the inside, defending it. Geton as well is making that move.
Yep, he's done it. He's through. But now, Vex is actually still fighting with Hugo's. He has managed to get himself ahead, but Hugo's is not giving up without a fight. He's staying alongside of him, and Hugo's gets it back on the harder compound tires that are so much older. He gets the position back from Vexit. Hugo's. What a machine.
Yeah, and that's allowed Geton to get right back into this fight. He's on the gearbox of Vexit once more.
Actually, never mind, he's going for it. Into a spoon, some idiot. Oh, he's no idiot, that's for sure. He made that one look so simple. But now he has to worry about that gap. It's 8. Moved on quickly in towards turn 1. He's got so much more time to work with. I think Owen still has DRS. Yes, he does. He has a lot more ERS. And does he have the aero for this? Hugo's and Vexit, they also swap places. Vexit is now into race lead, and Hugo's can't quite fight him the way he wants to. Somebody, Gowan made a mistake and somebody could have capitalized. Just get him, somebody. So he's going to be in trouble. Also, Geton is feeling very quick and has got a decent amount of ERS to work with, but so does Hugo. So this is going to be it. This is going to be the final, the most crucial maneuver. We're coming into triangle. I said there's going to be an issue. Are we going to see? What is he going to go for the late lunges? No, he's going to look for the cutback of Dreams. Hugo's gone deep. This is big for Geton. He's going to get the switch back. Oh, he's going around the outside to the final corner. Geton is going to stick it through. He takes P2. Oh my word. Geton, you
finish.
Beast. What was that?
That was excellent. He put on just enough pressure onto Hugo's to force him into that mistake. That was a great move. Well done from Geton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in the USA. It's a circuit of the Americas, and of course, as always, your usual commentators. It's Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me is Mark Hornbadger Meiklejohn. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. In the USA, homeland of some idiot. We're looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is going to be his first win, isn't it? Because he's not won yet. He's not won a single race this entire season. He's had some fantastic races where he's got podiums left, right, and center, but I've not yet seen him win a singular race. So he's got a lot to do in order to achieve greatness today. 3.5 miles, or 3.4, sorry, with 20 turns and 2 DRS zones. Realistically, only one of them is going to be fully utilized to properly attack, because that is going to be the area to gain the most on it. But this is how the standings look as it sits. Zones is back today, but I have been told his pedals are not completely 100%, so the championship is still on. But Geton is leading with 287, Zones 258, and then Sumidi a bit further back with 203. The rest of the guys a little bit further out. I think mathematically, I don't think they can do it now. It's just a bit too far off, but it does matter for the top 10, because remember, the top 10 get straight into the next season, get an invitation straight in, no problems, whereas the rest of them outside of the top 10, they have to fight for their seat in the next season of the Rwagnation League. The Constructors, though, is also still very much to play for, because Williams, yes, they're leading, and yes, they've been doing a very good job, especially over the last few races, to dominate it. It is still within, well, just under 30 points, with McLaren chasing them down. Mercedes a bit further back. I think they also are mathematically out of this, but I think, you know, everything's still doable as long as you believe within yourself. If you do believe in yourself, then anything is possible. But Yonsi is going to show us how to do a lap around the United States circuit. So the wing wide open as you charge all the way down and up now, up the hill in towards turn 1. Hard braking zone. You want to bring yourself down the gears and clip the inside curve quite nicely. Run out wide just a little bit, not too far off, but you do want to try and hug this inside here through turn 2. Look for the eye in Pirelli on the second part of it, and then cut the curbs quite nicely through the awkward S section. There'll be no overtaking here. If there is, then you're going to see somebody going flying off the track into this left-hand here. You want to clip this and get momentum as much as you can, and just slowly through this long right and into a quick left. Don't run too wide, very easy to invalidate. They will do that when it comes to the qualifying, almost certainly. Hard braker zone here, gets them right down the gears, and this is the most important corner on the circuit, because it's a huge DRS straight where lots of overtaking is possible, and the toe being massive in this long straight here, especially coming towards the braking zone, because it's a really hard braking zone. It's very easy to go for a send down the inside, especially as you come into what is now Sector 3. This is, in my opinion, the most awkward place to overtake on the entire circuit, because you can go alongside, yes, but every time you go for an inside line, you're going to find yourself on the outside for the next 2 corners, and it's the same again after that. So you got to try and get it just right. And now you're coming into the famous Max Verstappen Corner, where he did clip that inside curve, but was there. He got removed as a result of it. Second to last corner, the very awkward one, is quite blind. Again, don't run too wide, you will invalidate. And again, this one, final corner, second most important corner in my opinion, because you have another DRS zone, as we saw, charging up towards the turn 1. So race is about to get underway. We are just pending 1 or 2 drivers to get themselves ready and sorted. Badger, last week we saw a fantastic overtake from Geton on Hugos, who managed to get himself P2 just by under a 10th. USA, a circuit where that is very easy to recreate. You reckon we're going to see any sort of crazy antics like that again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of this track, as you say, is very difficult to handle. There's probably going to be a lot of penalties, so the on-track overtakes might not necessarily be the important ones. It's probably going to be a lot of keep your nose clean, don't get any penalties, and you'll probably jump a few places anyway from the guys in front who might have some penalties added on for corner cutting. I mean, we saw even in real life, you know, Max Verstappen on Kimi, he made an audacious attempt in Sector 3 and had a podium taken away from him because the stewards decided that he'd done the move off track. So even the pros do it. It's definitely a risk around here.
So this is going to be quite a tough one now for anybody who's fighting for the championship. Obviously, it is still between Get Owned and Zones. Realistically, if Get Owned wins today, and he gains 23 points more than Zones, then he's going to be the big champ. I'm told. We'll have to see whether or not he can actually achieve that, because this is a very difficult circuit. And I think, to be honest, like Geton has shown us time and time again, he has got pace. And I'm being really harsh and really critical when I say this, but in comparison to his start of the season and even throughout majority of the season, he started off really good, like almost untouchable. No one was around him. Everybody seemed to be just sort of caving around him, and he was doing fantastic to hold it down. Obviously, he was kind of in the shadow of his teammate initially, but then when he stepped out at Zandvoort, or after Zandvoort, it was the Get On show. Then Zones picked up the pace, started to really take it back, and started to really, take charge of the championship. He took the lead for quite a while, and then Get On brought it back again. But I feel like we're reaching that point where Get On is still up there in that top 3, maybe even top 4 if he's on a bad day. But this is a circuit which I don't think plays to his strengths. I think this is going to be a race where he's going to settle for scoring, even if he can get into the top 5. I think he's going to be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. We'll see how it goes down. But I could be completely wrong. Let's now see how this one goes. As we are now, as you can hear, into the Grand Prix. Now, I want you guys in the chat to have a little think about your 1, 2, 3 prediction. Who's going to get P1, P2, and P3 for the qualifying. But whilst we do that, I want to just bring up the standings one more time, because I want to take a look at that back end of the top 10. You can see that, realistically, for the top 6, they're all covered, right? They're all way ahead. No one's going to be able to stop them. It's pretty much, yeah. You don't want to back off at it by any stretch of the imagination. You really want to give it a good go. But it's when you get further down. So we're looking at Vexit is obviously pretty much secure. I don't think anybody's going to be knocking him out of it. Danico is still kind of at risk. He's 1 point ahead of Yonti, who's right there behind him in P9. And Coppet in P10 is at 53, I think that is, if my eyes are not deceiving me. But then you got Florian, Higgsy, Vanier, Patrick Sipos, Safso, and Dennis Hazard. Some of these guys can definitely take it to them and actually get themselves into that top 10. But Coppet has had the most unluckiest streak this season than I think I've ever seen from any driver in both real and virtual sim racing.
Yeah, he's definitely not been having a good time. Some of the issues you could say maybe his fault, but a lot of it you do seem to think it is just kind of wrong place, wrong time, which again it's heartbreaking to see, but that's racing. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, in terms of the constructors, again, it's still going, like we say, but it looks like a 2-horse race. Williams and McLaren are giving it absolutely everything. Mercedes have had a really good run, but it took a while for Zones to be in a position where he had a teammate that was able to start scoring consistently. And Vanier, obviously, bear in mind, he has taken quite a while out of being proper sweaty racing in the way that we are here today. So he's done well to recover from back to his former glory. If you remember back to season 1, I think it was, of RNL, he was a veteran in these parts. But we are now underway with the qualifying. I also want to draw attention to a certain Red Bull driver. Some of you may have already noticed. I know that they did in the league chat notice that there is a driver in here by the name of Matteo Longa. You may know his brother, who is the Renault Esports driver, Nicholas Longa.
Nah, never heard of him, mate.
Just some guy, don't worry about him. I mean, he did race here once upon a time, and he actually, if you remember, the British GP last season was a fantastic performance by a lot of drivers, but 2 people individuals stood out for me. You had Nicholas Longa, who he actually served a quali ban in that race. He was at the back of the grid when that race started, and he charged so hard and drove so well, minus the penalties, of course, then he managed to get right up there with the guys fighting for the podium. And actually, as we came through the final corner, final lap, he actually was still physically in the P2 slot. It's just the penalties then took into account, and he did fall down. And Tomek, well, Tomek got through, didn't he, on P1, didn't he?
No, he got through on penalties. He finished P2.
But I was bringing me on to the other driver, though, Tomek, who, he drove really, really well. Kept it completely clean, no penalties whatsoever. And again, final corner, final lap. He went for a move that blew my mind. Mr. Kodiak was alongside me in the commentary booth, and we lost it. I could not believe how insane that was. Oh.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment. It really was. It was definitely one of the highlights of RNL. I'm sure that someone could find a clip of it and put it in the chat. That was definitely an incredible move, an incredible moment, and to be honest, it was just an incredible race. And now we've got here Nicholas's younger brother going to show us what he can do.
I mean, Matteo is a very quick driver. think he was this quick. His lines are so clean. He's optimizing everything.
Yeah, I've seen him race a few times, and he is very good. And obviously with his brother helping him, I'm sure he can become a very, very top tier racer.
100%. I mean, it's a style game that he is very enjoyable. He enjoys a lot anyway, so I'm expecting him to do well here today. With the experience and knowledge that Nicholas has got, to pass that on to Matteo is going to be critical, and also will help him learn faster than most of the drivers. Like, how many people do you know are related to esports drivers that can teach you so much? So it's fantastic to see, and we'll see what lap times he can bring in. Where Florian has done the fastest so far out of the 3 times that have been set with a 129.7. Zones has just beaten it and put himself at 129.4. And Matteo Longa coming through the final corner just runs a bit wide there. It's not quite invalidated. Will get himself up there with a 130.184 as his time, which currently sits in P4.
Yeah, and somebody there just managed to pip the pole position just now. But Zones, as you said earlier, he is still having some kind of force feedback problems. So I think consistency is going to be an issue for him if his force feedback keeps cutting in and out. And that is a problem around this track.
Yeah, it is a bit. I think actually the race itself is going to be determined by penalties, in very much in the same sort of way that the F2s were. The penalties are so easy to get on this circuit. Honestly, it's scary how easy it is to get, and it requires such precision from a driver in order to keep it clean consistently, or a hell of a lot of repetition practice. Yep,
and just quickly pointing out the racing points, they look like they got given the toe there. Copy given the toe Danico. Just on the back straight, so this should be an alright lap from Danny, but he kind of stepped out a little bit in the final corner, but that's still put him up to P3.
Yeah, good. I mean, look, yes, he had a little bit of a mistake there. I think it maybe cost him a 10th and a bit, but still, a very good lap time for him to do a 29.7. I mean, looking at these times hurts me emotionally. I enjoy commentating, because I love seeing what these guys can deliver, but I hate it so much at the same time because I'm so jealous of all these guys who are able to chuck in these crazy fast lap times. It impresses me just how good that somebody can be at this. One day, maybe if I sweat the game hard enough, I might be able to get to their level. But my day is not today, and today is also not Safso's lap, at least, as it has been invalidated. He will have to get himself back into the pits, change boots, and then go once more. I actually want to talk about strategy real quick. I actually don't think the softs are ideal here.
I agree. The Racing Point's doing the toe again, but yeah, I agree. This track really kind of does eat your tyres up. So I think we will potentially see a mix of strategies. I also am not too confident that everyone who's in the 130s right now is actually really wanting to stay on those tyres. I think that's just kind of like a standard banker lap that they've done. But we'll see. I know that Florian has only done about 20 minutes of practice, so we will see if he's kind of like the benchmark there for where the top 10 will end up being. I want to point out as well, Yonte, obviously not the quickest of time that he's put in there, but he is feeling under the weather, so potentially he will be a little bit off the pace, but he says he's going to try his best and just push through and see how he feels after the race. But so big thanks to him for actually still racing despite not feeling too great.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of shows the passion that these guys have, in order to, the desire to want to continue racing despite having these technical issues, just shows how much they enjoy doing this. It's a lot more than just a hobby. It's a real passion. Again, I know I'm using the word twice, but it just is. It matters so much to them. But we shall see now. So Yonte out there doing an outlap, getting himself ready. We've got a few people that are also doing the same, but it is Geton and Top Tom who are currently doing their hot laps. In fact, where is Top Tom? He's a bit further back. So it's going to be Geton coming first to the line out of these guys. We'll see now whether or not he's able to get himself up to his usual spot in the top 3. And whether or not some idiot on home territory. We already know home territory gives you an extra 50 horsepower. So surely somebody's going to get that P1 slot, right?
Yeah, he's already showing the home fans exactly what they want to see right now, but here's Get Owned coming to try and spoil the party.
Oh,
And he does so!
yeah, that was a definite party spoiler. 3/10 improvement on what somebody... I mean, in fairness, the track has evolved a little bit as well, so there is, you know, a tenth or so, I think, in there just from track evolution on its own, but, you know, still, we can't take anything away from him. Top Tom did cross the line, does a 29.3, but it has been invalidated, so it will not count. That would have put him P2, though. Bear that in mind. And actually, this is a guy that we've seen time and time again deliver such incredible performances. I think it was Singapore in particular, where he was so fast, no one could touch him. The guy was just gone.
Do you want... oh no, I think I've misread something, never mind.
Okay.
I thought Matteo on his invalid lap put in an identical lap to what Get Owned had just done, but I think I've misread something, so ignore me.
Okay.
I was about to say that would be announcing himself to the league in such a very good style.
Yeah, it really would be. I mean, he is a reserve driver for Red Bull, literally as of about 20 minutes ago, but I'm keen to see what he can deliver. Obviously, a lot of it is going to be genetics. You know, if you're born with talent, you're born with talent. It might run in the family, who knows, we'll see. But Vexit, if you remember last week, he drove phenomenally. He was so quick, and he really delivered an exceptional performance. He actually won the race, took those 25 points, stuck them in his back pocket, and then legged it further up the championship standings than he's ever been before. But I've given him a bit of a pressure. I've said to him, if you don't get the podium today, then you're getting the last invite to Among Us after this. If you get a podium, you can have the first. He said, oh, okay. No pressure, or something to that effect. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah, it's I'd like to see him up there. You know, he put on a great performance last week, and he's someone that we know is really quick. His zones manages to go a tenth quicker than Get Owned and takes that pole position. But here comes Vexit now, and he puts himself in P3.
Yep, really good stuff. Zone said earlier, "Oh, I can't drive as fast as I can because my pedals are not working." I think he's lying. I think he just lined up an excuse just in case it didn't quite go well for him.
Yeah, it's looking that way just now.
Just a hard call out.
A great effort in there from him, but all on the soft tyres. So that might be speaking rain in the race if every single person is qualifying on softs.
Yes. Or it could be more that realistically the softs are the only tyre that can actually chuck in a really good lap time, and it's almost impossible to do mediums here. So I think that's more the case. Although I would love there to be rain on this circuit, because this track in the wet conditions is a very, very difficult circuit to actually get some quick pace in, and I think that's where you start to see the better drivers come out of it. You know, the ones that have got that natural talent, because they have to react using their skills and their knowledge and practice that they've put in there. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah, I would want to see it as well. I mean, this track already has zero grip at the best of times, so in the rain, even less so.
Yellow flag sector 1, nothing to worry about. Hugo's does a lap, it's 31.6, but it does not count because it wasn't invalidated. So he's going to have to go once more. Although he's opted out of that one. Okay, he's not going to go for it then. Hugo's looks to be struggling. I mean, if I'm basing that just on his invalidations, then yeah, but this is the thing, you know, you've got your qualifying lines and you've got your actual racing lines that are two very different things. Some of them you'll be proper cooking it on the brakes and accelerator, whereas in the race you won't be. If he's running very similar to his racing lines, then he's in trouble. Safso Danico, that was odd. Did you see that? Safso was on an outlap, and it looks like I don't think he's hindered Copy. I hope he hasn't hindered Danico.
Danico is only there to give Copy the tow. They've done that all session so far. Danico's just finished his lap, and that was him just kind of trailing around waiting to give Copy the tow, so that's fine. All is good and well. No harm, no foul. But yeah, going back to Hugo's, I think he is struggling, but he has only attempted the one lap. So, you know, he's still got plenty of time. He can get a proper banker in, and then he can still go for an all-out lap at the end and see what he can do.
Oh, Copy, no.
Right at the end, yeah.
Honestly, again, I've said this earlier, but I'll repeat it. This guy has had the most horrific look throughout this entire season. I want to see Copy qualify high, avoid the midfield carnage that he always gets involved in, and just see where he can go from there.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's one of these mental things that, once you have a little bit of bad luck, the next time something happens, you're accumulating it in your head, and it's like, it's like a block where, you think bad things just keep happening to me, and it kind of just seems to breed more inconsistencies and problems, and that seems to be what's going on with Copy right now. It's a real shame.
Yeah, it really is. Apologies for the slight black screen there. Just tried to fix our notification issue. Yeah, in order for me to fix it, I have to tab out. And when I tab out, you can't see a thing. So apologies for that slight black screen. It should be good now. Hopefully, you will see a little juicy notification at the top of the screen in a roundabout. I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that'd have been mental if I got it. Never mind. All right, Zones P1 still 29.064. Gets owned a bit behind him. He's 9 tenths back. No, 8. Can't count. 6 tenths back. 7 tenths back. Oh my word. What is wrong with me? It's 6 hundredths. God damn it.
Are you okay?
No, help me.
Who are we talking about?
I was trying to count the difference between zones and get owned, but maths is a really hard topic for me. Okay, we can avoid it. Yeah, I got it in the end, just a bit too late. I think I may need to borrow Tommy P's glasses, indeed. Right, 2 minutes remaining in the session. Lots of people in the pits, lots of people out on outlaps too. And I think a lot of those people that are out on outlaps are just trying to get some free space, free time, and free track. Because if they can, it's very easy to get a great lap time in. But there's so many areas on the circuit where if you come across any sort of traffic, it's very likely to hinder you because you cannot go side by side on most of the circuit. The only real areas to do that are on the straights, and there's only 2. So we shall see if that in fact happens. As you can see now, I think that was Vania. No, it was actually Zones who's got a car behind him. Is it Williams?
Yep, and I just want to point out, I think we've missed your moment. I'm so sad.
It's okay. It's okay. So
but yeah, Zones with both Hugo's and Samirit behind him. So both Williams boys, just copy what Zones does in front of you and get some good pace. But that's Samirit given the given the toe. So they're cutting it very close to the trade over, but that might have been just a perfect, absolutely perfect toe there for the Williams boys. So that should hopefully get a few extra positions there for Samirit. He is very close to Vexit in front.
Yeah, Zone's getting very cleanly out of the way. Samirit is out there going through. He did have a bit of wobble coming through part and towards the sector 3, but you know what? It's still okay, and this is his home track. So he's going to be so much faster now coming into the final corner. Has he got the goods to deliver? Coming now onto the home straight. The lap time is in, but it's only a P3. He's close, but it's not quite close enough. Remember, he's not a qualifying merchant. He is absolutely a racecraft engineer.
Yep, and Zones there. He's managed to start his lap off. We'll see what he does. We expect good things from him.
So we think the session timer is off by about 40 seconds. So there is 40 seconds remaining of the session now. Zone's backed out. Zone's given up. He is decided. Oh, he invalidated. Oh, that. I mean, he's done well, but now Get On is going to be almost pressure free. He's about to come into the final corner. He's looking at P2. He does need to still get that 700ths of a second in order to snatch P1 away from him. But here he goes then. Away, and to start off his hot lap, we'll see what he can deliver when we get a bit further round. Vexit coming onto the home straight. He does get a lap in. It is slightly improved, but not quite enough. He isn't going again, so his qualifying is done and dusted. Florian about to start his hot lap, but he also has Brownie following in suit. And Brownie's opted out. Brownie's given up.
So another point to note that Top Tom actually had the fastest Sector 1, but he's not actually set a valid time yet. So he should be right up there if he can nail the times together. We've got, looks like Danico spun out or just completely stopped on the track. Yeah, he's just completely stopped on the left-hand side, letting these guys go. And Yeah, we're looking to see the times from Top Tom and from Get On. These two are we're expected to put in some really fast laps.
TomTom is really hardly committed to doing this now. He went so far off the circuit there in order to make sure he opened the corner up as much as he could. This is looking really good for him. Remember, Zones has invalidated, so he's not going to be getting a lap time in. Yonti's done his lap and he's bringing himself back into the pits. CUNY has also finished. I think Dennis is next up, but he's also invalidated, which then takes us to the man of the hour then, the guy who's not yet got a lap time on the board, but still can deliver crazy lap times. He's got a bit too wide. Oh, he's kept it in the track limits. Then the final corner. This could be the new fastest lap. He's so fast. Is it going to be just enough? He's not, but a P6 is a very good time indeed. Geton is into the pits and is deciding not to improve. Vexit in the same manner. Florian is out there. He's invalidated as well, so he will not be improving. Copy has actually kept himself alive this time and is not invalidated. Still hasn't. Got one more corner to go. Can he improve and get himself into the top 5 maybe? Does have to improve by half a second. There's a 29. There's a 29.7. So he is P8. And that, unless Danica... Nope, he's also given up. That is the end of qualifying.
Yeah, so Zone's there despite his technical issues. Still manages to nail in lap P1.
Very well done there from him to achieve that. I mean, there was the invalidation coming in anyway was already quite a bit of a concern, but then yeah, everyone else couldn't improve or struggled to improve or invalidated, and it just kind of made it pretty much impossible for them to catch this one back. So Zone's getting pole position by 700ths of a second. We did the maths in the end. To Geton, who's in P2. Some idiot home territory. Couldn't quite give him the advantage he needed in the qualifying, but a P3 from him is still fantastic. So well done to him. Vexit P4, Danico P5, TopTom P6, Florian P7 with Copy P8, Brownie P9 with Higgsy rounding out the top 10. Then you got Yonti rounding out the 1 second marginers. He's in P11 as well with Mateo P12, Dennis P13, Safso 14th, Vanya 15th, Hugo's 16th, and CUNY in 17th place, both of which couldn't get a time on the board. So that'd be an indicator to how this race goes down. Are you right? Are there going to be rain? No. It's a completely dry circuit. I'm going to very quickly try and fix this notification thing one more time, as it is not working. I have spammed it. So if you could now try again, please, stewards. Let me know if it does work. Well, I'll know if it works because I'll see the message.
Yeah. And I'm just having a look at somebody that's actually starting in a really difficult position right now. He's got the two championship leaders in front of him, and he's got Vexit right behind him. And we know that Vexit's a very quick driver and not afraid to go for moves. So somebody that's going to be tasked with trying to keep up with the guys in front while also defending from a very fast starting Vexit behind him.
The notification is working, and I've also been informed rain is expected later in the race. So you are still kind of right. I'll give you that one. I also want to ask the Twitch chat, give me your 1, 2, 3 prediction. Who's finishing where and on the podium today? I want to hear it. Before I go to you, though, Mr. Badger, I'm also keen to let you all know that this is one of the final few races of the season, and there are going to be sign-ups for RNL coming up soon, so stay tuned to the Discord. If you're not already in it, !Discord in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, you will need to... I think there's a link in the description, actually. I'll make sure there's a link in the description just for you, okay? Bear that one in mind. Well then, Badger, what's your 1, 2, 3?
Honestly, I think Geton's going to get this mostly because of Zone's having wheel problems. I think that this is going to potentially get him a penalty or two just from inconsistency in the force feedback. But I do think some idiot is going to get that P2 and Zones will end up dropping to P3. I'm mostly just basing this on I have driven with, shall we say, questionable force feedback on and you saw how much of a disaster that was for me. So I know how difficult it is, and obviously Zones is a far better driver than I am, but he is in for a very difficult race.
He is indeed. So predictions are in the chat. Vexit P3, Smidic P2, Get On P1. That one's from Tommy P. So we'll see if anybody else wants to chuck their predictions in. But at the same time, there is also Twitch predictions in there, which are... Do you reckon there's going to be a safety car? I think it was between lap 1 and 3. We'll see then whether or not that is the case. My top 3, I'm actually going to back my boy. I think somebody will actually take this through. I think he will get the win overall. I think penalties will bring him up there as well. I think, yes, he may not physically be P1. I think he will stay in P3. But I think Zuns and Get-On will get those penalties. And as a result, he will climb. And then it comes down to, again, the best of the rest. Like, who's going to be the next cleanest driver? I mean, Hugo's is so far down, but I think he's opted for that. I think he chose to do the one-stop strategy, mediums, hards. Safso, though, the only driver outside, well, yeah, the only driver on the grid, but the only driver outside the top 10 who had a choice, is the only one to choose hards.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, and honestly, I hope it goes well for him, but I'm not too sure many drivers are going to be touching the hard tyres.
Lights are on then here, the USA GP. Lights have gone out, but we need to wait 1 second. And there we go, we are away. Zones gets quite a clean start, so does Get-On. It also looks like it's a little bit slow there for Samidia, and Vex is through on the inside. There's a bit of a weaving going on there between Zones and Get-On, and Vex is looking to try and steal away a nice little cheeky P2. He's got himself ahead of him, but he's going around the outside into turn 2, which is never ideal, because you're going to lose out again, and Get-On recovers to snatch back P2 once more, and the train seems to be going quite well through the S's. Everything, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're clean enough to say no yellow flags.
Yeah, and this is what I said for some idiot. You know, Vexit's not afraid to go for a move in a very fast start, so that's put him nicely into P3, but this isn't all over. Some idiot can definitely still hold on to this, and now he's not really going to have to worry about, you know, Vexit's not afraid of challenging him wheel to wheel. Danico, also the same, but probably a bit more reserved. He'll probably stay behind for a few laps unless he gets a very wide opening.
Yeah, Safso's hards have really not worked out for him. He's down 3 places. Yonti having a look down the inside of Copy. No, we're keeping it all right. Yep, Copy's still going good and strong and healthy. In terms of position changes, not very many people have actually changed positions, although there is a bit of a scrap going on here between Dennis and Vania. Dennis just getting himself up now into P13. He's recovering his position. Vania's got for a lunge down the inside. There's a bit of contact between him and Dennis. I think Mateo also felt the brunt of it too, but no wing damage on either driver, just a fair few code browns everywhere. Maybe we need to get a sponsorship with some sort of boxers company, because the amount of code browns we see is ridiculous.
I apologise, chap. I have to put up with them too.
Zones gets the fastest lap, of course. He has started the race and he's kept himself in P1, so that is not a surprise. But now lap 2. We are only 1 lap away from seeing the big old DRS being available, and when it does happen, then we're going to start seeing more movements. And Dennis, speaking of movements, has gone for a move here on Vania. Vania, oh, he turned across a little bit too hard there. It did clip Dennis's back end, and no carnage ensues, but they are now outside of this train, and this is a track where once you're outside of it, it's pretty much impossible to bring it back.
Yep, and I just want to point out McLaren right now, you know, P2 and P7, this is actually really good for their championship battle, because right now somebody is the only Williams that's scoring any points, and he's in P4, so they'll be catching up to them a little bit as it stands at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so Samidia is trying to close in onto Vexit to try and gain that position back. Mateo is doing a pretty damn good job in his first race, holding down P12. He's still within the train. He's still very much got an opportunity to score some big points. He's taking the usual lines you would normally expect, so fantastic stuff from him. Bit of a lock up there from Samidia, which is less than ideal when it comes to his tyre temperatures and also tyre wear, but lockups left, right, and centre from everybody. You know, this just shows how hard they are pushing to try and keep themselves ahead. Hugo's looking for Vania. Hugo's going down the inside of Vania. Maybe you're going to see a little bit more of a bit of a tappage. There's going to be a squeeze on Vania to push him off just to the edge of the circuit, and Hugo's is through, so that's 1 down. Only another 13, 14 to go, depending on where you want to finish.
Yeah, and here we go on to the third lap. DRS is now going to be enabled as Dennis manages to get himself the first penalty of the race. He will definitely not be the last. This is exactly the type of track that just incurs penalties. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, like I say, yes, he's the first. Like, yes, he's not going to be the last. But my question is just how many are we going to see? Because it's so easy to get, especially when the tires start to drop off. Which, give it another 5, maybe 4 laps on these softs, and yeah, they're going to be very much in that territory. So it's a risk-reward sort of scenario. If you can push that a little bit further and maintain consistency without dropping too much time, you know, it's a very complicated formula to having success in Formula 1. And Top Tom seems to have got it, because he's actually got from, if you're on Danico, down the inside in towards the hairpin onto the back straight. Top Tom has got that one in, and he's just on that limit of the 1 second margin. He's going to have to burn so much ERS here in order to keep himself within this train. Vex is actually starting to drop as well. Some idiot moving out of the toe to make sure he doesn't gain too much speed because he doesn't actually want to attack just yet. Remember, his strategy is always, let's go late into this race. Danica recovering that position there from Top Tom. Back into P5, but the fighting is only making their time gap bigger.
Yeah, and you know, these soft tyres are not going to last long at all, so I would expect around P7, lap 7, lap 8, we're going to see these soft tyres come in, because this track just eats up the tyres, and even the medium tyres are not going to last, you know, much longer than that, maybe to lap 15, you know, if they're really pushing it. We'll see, but just depends when the rain's coming, you know, and how hard that comes down when it does come.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we will monitor for now. We'll see how they get on throughout this race. We are only on lap 4, so we've still got at least a few more laps before that happens. But also, you have to bear in mind, we are expecting rain later on in this race. We don't know when. We don't know how much. It might be a freak storm where suddenly we have to go into full wets, but realistically, we're almost certainly going to be looking at some intermediate compound tyres. Now, Yonti started to drop away here. He's actually 1.6 seconds, but that is expected when you're on the medium compound tyres. It's Higgsy that's kind of surprising me a little bit by not being that bit faster and getting through on Yonti. Matteo getting the other penalty. He's the next driver to achieve that 3-second penalty added to his list. And yeah, like we said, he's not going to be alone, let's be honest.
No, to be honest, I would be very surprised if, you know, 75% of this grid don't have penalties by the end of it. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, everybody else still stuck in the train. Everybody seems pretty happy with this train for now, especially those in the top 4. Like, somebody, yes, he's at the back of this train, but this is perfect for him. He's so used to this. He's been here plenty of times. This is natural habitat, if you like, for him, where he just needs to sit here, play cozy, manage his ERS, make sure he doesn't fall behind too far, and just sort of keep an eye on the driver ahead and then keep an eye on the driver ahead of him. Race engineers are so crucial, especially in Williams. They've worked magic over the entire season to help keep the Williams boys in some great points positions. It's just a shame Hugo's couldn't quite deliver in the qualifying. Couldn't get a time on the board. Started all the way down in P16. He's only gained 1 place so far. But the rain is the thing that's going to throw this race completely off kilter here. I have no idea who's going to finish where, purely because if that rain comes hard and starts about mid-race, the pit stop is going to work better for anybody on mediums and hards.
So I can inform you that in about 25 minutes or so, the rain will be here. But about 10 minutes after that-ish, it's going to be coming to like lightning storm level of rain, according to my graphic. That will be right at the end of the race if we even get that far. So final few laps is definitely going to be a bit slippy, but it depends exactly how far the guys can push it when it gets to those bad conditions. But at the moment, it's still a long way off.
It's also whether or not we end up having any safety cars, because I mean, I'm going to put both hands firmly on the wood when I say this. We've not had a single yellow flag this race. Never mind safety car. If we end up having a safety car, that could extend the race time even further, and then we'll be seeing that flash flood that we were talking about, and whether or not we need to start getting any sort of UK aid going to try and help these guys out. But you know what? This is looking really good so far. A fair few little gaps forming. Danico obviously being the first with a 1.6 second gap to some idiot, the battle for P1. And then you got the battle for obviously P5 right the way down there to sort of P8, P9. Copy is just within it, although he's starting to drop out of it now as the tyres are dropping. Then you got a battle as well for P10, the final point, which is Yonti leading that. But again, he's leading as well. The alternate strategy, guys. He is ahead by a decent amount, to be truthfully honest, in comparison. And when they all start to pit in to get off these softs, he will take race lead. It's just, again, the big question mark. Where is the rain? And how hard will it fall?
Yeah, and he's got to watch out because he's been given a warning there for corner cutting. So he does need to make sure he keeps it on the grey stuff and within the lines to so that he can make the most of the strategy when the softs do go in. It'd be great to be in the lead of the race, but if he ends up getting a couple of penalties, then that's going to plummet him down come the end of this race.
I love watching both Geton and Zones fight this out for two reasons. One, because this is very nostalgic kind of feel where you remember the times of old where you see the best racing drivers at the front fighting it out across different constructors rather than the two Mercedes boys just scrapping each race, and it only lasts for about 2 laps, then it's over and done with. It does remind me of the days where the championships went to the very end. They really did give it to each other on the track, and Geton staring down the back of Zones. The championship is so close. No one is really like running away with this. Geton has to score huge in comparison to Zones in order to secure it here today. And I think this will go all the way to the very final race. We have got our pit stop starting to happen already. We've got that is Copy in to get his softs off. He's gone to mediums. If the rain is going to fall in the way that you said it is, then yeah, that makes complete sense. I think softs mediums is perfect, although you really wanted to start the race on any alternative tyre than the softs. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's still 20 minutes before the rain starts, and it will be another 10 minutes or so before it starts getting really heavy, but you would expect that, once it starts, you'll probably be on intermediate tyres. Potentially be able to stick with them until the end of the race, depending on how long it takes for the heavy rain to start. But
Geton's got for a move. Geton's got for a move down the inside on Zones. I think Zones will just surrender this. I don't think he has to try and fight this, although he is still there, still actually pretty committed. Not going to... Is he going to say he's going to stay alongside him? I think he's actually just going to let this one go. Geton having a bit of a back slap there. They're so close to touching. Very nearly clipped the back end wheel there of Geton, but Geton has taken race lead. Zones will stay P2 for now, and I think realistically he's okay with this. His ERS was starting to fail because of how much pressure Geton was applying to him. Geton has done a very good job to manage his ERS levels, but this is just going to keep happening. Zones in the pits now. The undercut might be the way to get through this.
And I think Geton really realistic just now has to burn everything he's got, because he's probably got the pace to get away from Vexit, and if he can get in a few good laps here that still goes faster than Zones, then he'll cement this P1. But that was a perfect time for Zones to come in. You might as well try the undercut and see what happens.
Somebody's actually dropped outside the 1 second margin as well. This is less than ideal for him. He really needs to get back into that tow range, the RS range. I mean, the one benefit he does have, again, is that he can take the tyres further than anyone else. But realistically, if the rain comes to a point before the tyres even get to happen, Geton made a big mistake there. Huge wobble coming through the into the second sector. This is bringing Vexit right into the mix now. He might actually go for a send on the back straight, and why not? Absolutely can go for it. ERS is going to be... he's already turned it on. He's definitely going to go for a move here, surely. DRS being wide open, tow being fully utilised now. The charge is absolutely happening. Geton is being reeled in. Down the inside goes Vexit. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Vexit has got race lead from Geton, but Geton is looking for the cutback. Bit of a mistake there on Vexit on the throttle. Means his back end has stepped just a touch, but it's nothing to worry about, at least as long as he doesn't do it here and on the next one, because these are very difficult corners to get just right on both the braking and the acceleration. It's so easy to lose the rear end, but both of them make it look really, really easy. And Vexit stays P1.
Yeah, he's done a great job there, but this is just helping out Zones. So we need to see what Geton does here. It looks like Vexit's decided to go into the pits. So Geton's going for another lap. He's going to hope that he holds it together a bit better than he done last lap. But right now, this is the point where he has to absolutely nail it. Zones is out there on new tyres, and he is flying. He has got the fastest second sector by over a second. He is absolutely flying. So it looks like Zones made the correct call.
Oh my word, I've just seen Hugo's is actually in a fantastic... Yonti... Okay, alright. Let me get words out. Hugo's obviously had to start the race at the very far back of the grid. If the mediums can go far enough that the rain comes into this, those who qualified on the softs are actually not even in the top 10 anymore. Bear that in mind. That is crazy, because they're going to drop so much as a result, as long as they don't climb too far forward. So Yonti, in my opinion, Yonti's actually running net race leads, because he's so comfortable up there on the medium compound tires. They will go pretty far, and he will take them pretty far too, that he will actually be able to, if the rain comes at the right time, take the mediums to that point, and then switch the intermediates if that is what it is needed. This could be huge. This could be a crazy race. As Higgsy's under attack from Matteo Longa. Looked for the inside. Couldn't quite get it. Had to back out a little bit beforehand. And yeah, Yonsi's starting to pull a gap now. 1.6 is that gap there. Brownie's actually looking. Oh, that was a big off. That was Danico. Mistakes have been massively made, and he's gone off into the wall. Wing is missing on the left-hand side. He's coming across the track. Oh, no, don't do this. Danico nearly causing a big crash. No, Vexy's out of the race. Danico with the unsafe rejoin. Safety car has been called. There's definitely going to be pit lanes activated now. Some idiot has decided not to go in. That's the huge mistake. Get owned in. Florian in. He's going to have to double stack. Brownie is in as well. Yonsi has decided to stay out. I think that is the right call. Higgs is staying in, going in as well. Matteo, Dennis, Hugo's all chucking themselves into the pits. It is a free pit stop, but what do you go to? You don't want to go softs in case the rain comes a bit too late. You can't really go to another set of mediums, I don't think. Hards are really the only option you're going to have to go to, and you're going to be in trouble.
Great Outland gets out in front of zones. And I am going to step in and say that the medium runners have to pit before the rain. I'm guessing they're on about 40% right now, and the rain is still 15 minutes away. So it would be you're getting to the puncture territory if you stay out. So it depends how well they can hold the tires. Some idiot right now, he's in big trouble, but Yonte, it really depends on how well he can hold these tires together, because they are going to be in puncture territory by the time the rain comes, and that's even if the rain is heavy enough to warrant coming in for intermediate tires.
And now the steward's been in touch, of course, to let us know about that incident, and they've said that it is going to be investigated after the race. I mean, I think for me, again, I'm not a steward, and this is purely my own opinion. I don't speak for the stewards by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that was just a really unsafe rejoin. I think Vexit could have done more to avoid the contact, but the onus still sits on Danico, in my opinion.
Yeah, he damaged, I think it was Hugo's. So yeah, wasn't ideal. But you know, unfortunately that happens in racing sometimes, and the stewards will look at all the different footage and find out exactly what happened, and you know, issue punishments accordingly should there need to be any.
I mean, looking at the incident aside now and just looking at the situation that is some idiot, I feel for him. That is sometimes the way that racing goes. You know, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, the safety car is called, you just get absolutely done in. And yeah, look, right now, yes, he is P1, but he's going to come right the way down. Maybe get ahead of Safso, but I don't even think that's going to be possible. I think he's going to be at the very back now.
Yeah, he's going to be at the very back. There's no way he's getting in front of Safso. It's a shame. It was looking so good for him, and you know, he's going to be feeling that one. That's going to hurt. But yeah, we've seen from somebody time and time again that he can keep his head down. You know, the Jeffs are very good at keeping him focused, and he keeps his head down, and he's in for some good results still. You know, we've seen him come back through the pack plenty of times, so let's hope he can do it again today.
Yeah. So Yonsi, race leader. I mean, I called it earlier saying that realistically he's net race leader. I think the extension here as a result of the safety car is going to help him push that a bit further. The sky is no longer clear blue skies. There's a hint of blue in there in certain little cracks of the clouds, sorry. Maybe some of the crowds as well, actually, having said that. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing rain for a few laps yet, but I've seen rain come out of nowhere on this game. I've seen it go from being bone dry start of the lap, absolutely ready for, you know, complete soft tires, giving it the full beans, to drip wet, already DRS disabled, and you're having to really sit back. Yonsi's built up quite a gap to the safety car there. I'm not sure if that was within the 10 car length, but the game would punish. The sky's getting darker and darker every second that goes by. Safety car is in this lap, so Yonsi needs to get ready now, because this is about to be the most important restart of probably his entire season, truth be told.
Yep, and I'll just tell you now, the track temp has went down 3 degrees, so it is definitely coming. The rain is on its way. It should be here in the next 10 minutes or so.
I think, looking at how quickly it's getting dark, this looks like it's going to be next lap. I reckon we're going to be seeing spots of rain next lap. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Yonti then needs to control this restart as much as he possibly can and get away as clean as he can. He also has to prepare himself for the fact that the likelihood is he might have to pit in the next couple of laps to get onto some intermediate tyres. So he needs to make sure that he's as covered as he can from the cars behind, because you're going to get caught up in the pit lane as much as anybody else here. Oh, he's off. He's gone.
Yeah, he's away. He's gone.
He's not caught anybody out there. Get on is still. Oh, he's gone deep. No, Get on is going to get through the inside. There's also a big collision between Vanier and Safso that has brought a 5-second penalty for Vanier. And Get on is now race leader. Zones is also looking for the inside. He might get two of them. He's going to have to go to hard into the braking zones. Jonty's got a bit too deep. Got into the side of Get on. Mistakes were made for Yonti. He's now fallen way out the side here. Tom's going to try and close in as well, but he can't quite get the exit he needed. I think he got compromised there. Yonti had a horrible restart, and both Get on and Zones have already pounced.
Yep, that's the class of those two drivers at the front, but also the tyre wear difference making a big impact there. Yonti just a little bit wide into that final turn, and that just opened him up to the drivers behind him.
Hugo's also going alongside Matteo Longa here. This is going to be him trying to get up in towards P9 into the braking zone. There you go. And I think he's going to get that one pretty much locked in. Matteo's going to try and stick around the outside. He's actually going to be able to carry more momentum than Hugo is there. So he should be able to lock this in. He's also got the toe, but the ERS speed. Wow, Hugo's has so much straight line speed that he's just cruised on past him even without the toe. Yes, he used a lot of ERS, but he got so much pace there. That was fantastic. Hugo's now up to P9. Also, Dennis looking for the inside of Matteo Longa. He's going to be stuck on the outside for both these right-handers coming up. So this is going to be Dennis very much try. Oh, yeah, I tell you something. He kept the momentum going there as well. So well done to him. But he's got the tight inside for both of these left-handers. And that has pushed Matteo Longa off the edge of the circuit. And he's now at risk. Yonti losing out to Brownie. And he's also looking like Florian might get on him as well. 11 lap all mediums are less than ideal in this scenario. And that is causing a number of problems for him. Hugo's getting onto the inside of Copy, into the final corner, gets himself ahead. Hugo's is a man on a mission right now. He's getting everything out of these soft compound tyres. Don't be surprised if you see him in P5 by the time the rain comes.
Yeah, and Matteo there was having such a long battle with the drivers beside him, and now Samiria has managed to get past as well. But Dennis and Matteo went completely wide in the second last corner, just running each other kind of off the road, just fighting so long side by side.
Yeah, and the battle for P10 is still very, very hot right now. Matteo is sticking it to Samidia. Samidia is sticking it to Guppy, and Samidia is also, you know, it seems to be very much the Williams setup that they're both running right now. Samidia on the back of Copy looking for the inside now. He has to get past him very quickly because that gap is starting to form quite massive, and he needs to make sure that he's within the range because, yes, the rain will come pretty quickly, but he also cannot afford to lose out any places here. Copy got so compromised by the run through the hairpin that now Matteo is actually alongside of him, and Copy's also running so much better. I think he's just running much less wings, or Matteo's running so much more wings. Who knows? But Hugo's is through on Yonti. He's up to P6. He's just on that limit of the 1 second margin to Florian. He's broke it down already. He might even get into race lead by the time this run gets here.
Yeah, he's absolutely on a mission. He's absolutely on a charge, and honestly, like, he's making the most of those tyres. He knows that when the rain comes, you know, he'll need to get off them and onto the intermediates, so he might as well use every single ounce of grip he's got.
The yellow flag sector 3. I didn't see what happened or what caused it, but Ghetto has set the new fastest lap. It's a 1:33.925, so he's feeling pace, and Dennis is feeling like a little bit wavy. That back end kicked out there a little bit more than he necessarily wanted. Hugo's is absolutely rapid. Somebody's going for a move here on Dennis. In towards the breakers of turn 1. He's got his car turned in beautifully right on the inside. Dennis had a little bit of contact with him there as well. He's going to stick it alongside of him too coming through, but Dennis needs to hold on to the position. Otherwise, he's going to have to surrender, which is exactly what ends up happening. Dennis gets so compromised by the run, and Get On with a huge 3-second time penalty means Zones is net P1. Oh.
Yep, and I was actually just looking there. Hugo's has also been given a warning, so it looks like the grip levels are dropping rather considerably, but that there are multiple warnings for Get Owned causes him to get that 3-second penalty, and that now puts him off the podium.
It does indeed. Okay, Matteo's going at Copy now. Copy is having the most luck he's had all season right here in this one race, and he's unfortunately getting taken. That's just how horrible his season has been. Again, I won't even put half of his issues on him. That's just how unlucky he has been. But still, best of the rest right now. Who knows what can happen when the rain starts to fall. I have seen Copy dominate when the race has come into wet conditions in the past. So whether or not you can replicate that here today is a whole different story. But Dennis getting onto the back now of Yonti, who is really struggling to keep making those medium tires work. He was in P1 when the safety car went in. He's now PA, almost about to lose that and fall to P9.
Yeah, as I say, I think he should have came in, but you know who else is feeling a little bit unlucky right now? Some idiot. Not only did he have the safety car really ruin his position, but he's now caught up to the back of his teammate, and so when the rain does come, they're going to have to double stack, and right now, some idiot's the one who will be feeling the pain from that.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I feel for him, because what else can you do here? It is going to be the way that it is, but I think... You know, if you're Williams race engineer, I mean, there's not really much more you can do here. Boys, everything you've got, please. We need it all right now. Look at the sky. You don't need me to explain why you got to do it. Get it done. This is coming. Matteo also is looking to get Yonti. This is going to be ideally in the braking zone or on the... oh, no, he's ran deep. Bit of contact into the back of Yonti. I'll send him a little bit further into the corner. No damage and no real problems for either driver. I think they will just shake that one off and go again. But that red light flashing on the back of Matteo Longa means he has no ERS to work with. Yonti has more than enough and the DRS as well. He breezes past Matteo to regain P9, but he cannot do much more than he is. I think P9 is probably the best he can sit on right now and just pray that he can continue the level of consistency he's got. So, rain is falling. I see spots. Spots are definitely here. They're not yet on the halo, but I can see them dropping.
Yep, rain is indeed falling, and on my my chart, it should be intermediate tyres in the next 5 minutes. So... drip levels are dropping, track temperatures dropping, everything's going to be really difficult right now, and if you are feeling chancy, you know, in a lap or so, you might want to switch over, even if it's a little bit early, just see if you can get onto that tyre and have it come to you as the lap progresses.
Oh, Yonti's going a bit deeper into that corner. Matteo is through. That is a nice juicy P9 for him then, but yeah, this is where it's a do or die moment for a lot of the drivers here. If you've had a horrible race, take a gamble. Honestly, I think you take it. If you're Safso, take a huge gamble. Get on the intermediates at the end of this lap and just pray that you're able to capitalize. Because when looking at the train is the whole grid is pretty condensed. There's like a couple of breaks, obviously Dennis being the biggest break with a 3.9 second gap. But when you get into the pits, you can almost guarantee you're going to be in the pits with someone else. So if you don't get in there before everyone else and get out before everyone else, there is a lot you could lose. I remember this one race in particular, me and Amkasa were commentating a Germany Grand Prix where the rain came about halfway through. There was a person who was, I think he was P13. He won the race because of the timing of his pit. That was just how insane it was when he did it. Now, Dennis is very much under attack now. Matteo is feeling pretty racy. He's found pace, especially in these high downforce areas. He's able to properly commit to going for some sort of overtake, however that may form. But, you know, Dennis now needs to just keep his car going until we get to the wet conditions and just pray that he's got the minerals to keep the car pointing in the right direction, because that is not going to be easy.
Yeah, it looked like he had much more downforce than everyone else around him, and now it's coming to fruition now that the track conditions are lessening so much. So, yeah, Matteo could be on a charge towards the end of this race.
Florian on the back of Brownie here. Brownie's got that 2.3 second gap to top Tom, so the top three are looking pretty cozy up there, except for the fact that Geton has that 3 second penalty. Zones is kind of just, all right, I'll just manage my gap. I'll just stay within that 1.5 seconds I've got currently and just make sure it doesn't really extend any further. But Hugo's, he's wanting to upset this entire grid. He's got no penalties, touch wood. He's also very close to the back of Florian and has grippier tyres, and whilst they are currently a bit greasy due to the rain that's falling onto the circuit, he is able to be much faster than most people on the circuit. Matteo getting another 3 second time penalty. And now, watch this. Hugo's is going to pass both of them. I can feel this in my bones. He's got the ERS very much to deploy. The DRS very much to deploy. A 2-car tow to help him through as well. He had so much straight line pace earlier. Brownie has gone down the outside. Florian's on the inside in the middle of the sandwich. Hugo's is going to go for the lunge down the inside. It's going to be as hard as he possibly can, but he's not going to get either. Watch me and my big mouth ruin a double overtake, but Brownie's gone for the inside again to try and push Florian as far as he can to the edge of the circuit, and this again could be an inside double overtake for Hugo's. I want to see the double. Give me the twofer. He's going to get one, that's for sure, but he's not going to get the other. Some idiots in this mix as well. He's had a big wobble trouble coming out of that that left-hander there. Now he's going to have to try and make it work around the outside of Brownie. Brownie's still there, but he's not going to be able to hold this. Safso's in. He's the first one on the intermediate tyres. Hugo runs deep. And despite all of the side-by-side action, the only person who really gained, well, two people who really gained is Hugo's and Florian.
Yeah, and I'm just keeping an eye on Safso just now. I want to see what his sector times are like, but at the moment, he's looking like he's doing okay, but I don't think the switchover is here just yet.
I mean, the rain is definitely falling. There's no doubt about it. The track is definitely getting slippier. There's no doubt about it, but no one is able to get in and switch to the intermediates, despite the fact Safso has done that, because they're just not ready. It is the worst conditions you could be in. A damp track, a very slippy track on dry compound tyres. They're just so uncomfortable, and Florian's seeing that right now. He's actually lost a lot of time there. Hugo's is right on the gearbox of him. Realistically, this is going to be a pretty simple overtake, I think, when we get out of the corner. The exit has to be smooth. He's got a hell of a lot of ERS to work with. He's going to dump that 100% and use the DRS whilst it's still activated. And yeah, look, Florian's red light is flashing. That means he has less than 10% in the battery. And Hugo's has way more, so into the braking zone they go. And that is Hugo's up to P4.
Speaking of else who has no battery and the red lights flashing his zones, he is completely blasted through all of his. He was down to 5% a minute ago. So he has been trying to use everything to stay onto the back of Get On, but Get On looks like he's got a bit of the extra performance in these conditions, which you would expect with zones having his setup problems that he's got. So very interesting. That will probably be much harder for him in the wet, just from the lack of force feedback. But Get Owned now, he has a 2-second gap.
Pit stops. Florian's in. Samidia is in. Two people deciding it's time for the intermediate tyres, because there's no way they're going on anything else. But that is, well, at least Samidia has been given some sort of comfort here. I think he's taken the gamble. I think he had to take the gamble, because if he pits at the same time as everyone else is going to, then he's going to lose out due to the fact that it's going to be a double stack. Whereas now, he might lose a little bit of time, but I think we're about on time.
I think we're a lap early, but that's just going by Safso's sector times so far. I think this, if Get On gets in at the end of this lap, I think that would be perfect for him. And honestly, I think Zones has to follow him if that's what happens. But
I was watching Samidia there, exiting the pit lane. He had a very, very twitchy moment there. His back end did step out a bit more than necessarily wanted to. I can see the lights are on for a fair few of these guys, actually, to signify that we are now in wet weather conditions. They have their wet lights on, but they go from one part of the track where they're on to another part of the track where they're off, and then they're back on again now for Hugo. So yeah, this is the lap, in my opinion.
This is the lap.
Yeah, this is going to be it. They need to get in as quick as they can.
Yep, Get On.
There it is.
There we go, DRS. The Get On's final sector there, he's stepped out a little bit, and yeah, this is the lap he needs to be in. So this might have actually worked out perfectly for somebody. It depends on how much time that he lost during sector 1 and 2, but sector 3 is definitely a struggle for these guys still out there on dry tyres.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're going to lose more time than he lost in the first sector. So we'll see. Get On obviously in zones with a 3-second time penalty. He's now matching the guys around him. So it is going to be a battle for physical track position. And Hugo's, who's behind them in P4 now, he actually could genuinely benefit from this and get I think it's his third race win if he wins this one. This would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be his third win. I think there is probably just too much of a gap for him to get that, but here we are just watching to see where Samidia falls back into this, but it looks like he's not made enough inroads to catch the guys in front, but can he still get out in front of the Ferrari?
He might even get in front of his teammate here, it looks like. There's his teammate just coming out of the pit lane right now, and it's going to be, yep, I think, unless Hugo's is going to affect him. No, Samidia up now into P5, so that decision there to pit actually helped him out quite a lot. Yes, he may have lost a little bit of time in Sector 1, but he definitely gained overall, and he brings himself ahead of his teammate, and they can work together. This is where Williams take over the show, when they can work together to bring themselves further ahead and attack the front runners of the field. Somebody may still win this, honestly.
Yeah, he's definitely got an option for it, but right now, you know, as Top Tom's managing to take Florian just into the braking zone there, Williams are still losing out to McLaren here. You know, McLaren are doing a fantastic job and they're fighting back in the constructors right now. But some idiot and Hugo's, we've seen how well they work together. They can start putting the pressure onto Florian and get onto Top Tom and see what they can do and get themselves up to this podium.
But on top of that, you also have to think about the fact that they don't have penalties yet. And neither of them have penalties. And I'm saying yet because I don't want to be the one that jinxes them and say, we haven't got a penalties and they suddenly get one. But if they can continue doing what they're doing right now and keep closing that gap up even more, they're actually in a position where they can take both P1 and P2. It's just, can some idiot finally get his first race win of the season? He needs this. I feel like he needs that for his own self-esteem.
You know, I don't think he needs it for his self-esteem, but it would be such a good thing to see, having him win his home race. You know, he wasn't particularly confident that he's good around here. He was more looking forward to, like, Mexico. But if he can win in his home race, I mean, how great would that be to see?
Yeah, I mean, he's already a very passionate racer in general. We've talked about this many times. We've heard, I think if you remember back to his Monaco Grand Prix where he got his first podium of the season, he had a phenomenal reaction, and I love listening to his race endings every time they happen because they're just so full of passion and enthusiasm and determination to do well, and it also comes off the back of how much practice time he puts into these races. You know, he's just such a very lovable guy, and you know, already within DRS range, if we had DRS, of Florian is going to mean that, yeah, he should be able to attack soon enough. Now, just want to retouch a note that you mentioned earlier. There is likely going to be a storm-level rain at the end of this Grand Prix. We are talking very end of this Grand Prix, so in about 6 laps' time. But that also is dependent on how much that safety car brought us into that zone as well. We may still see yet another safety car, which then makes it even more likely we're going to see that rain, but we may have to move to wet compound tyres at some point in this race.
Yep, the option's definitely there. We've got about 12 minutes or so by my calculations on that storm level of weather. So it's just depending on, you know, if it's the final lap, you know, penultimate lap, are these guys really going to want to, you know, come in and, you know, add 30 seconds onto their time and then for the chance to fight back? Probably not, but it will mean that, you know, one mistake can see you go from, you know, P1 right the way down and out of this race.
Yeah, 100%. So some idiots had some sort of issue because he lost a lot of time to Florian. Either that or Florian decided bye-bye, and then he's gone all the way up to 6/10 between him and Top Tom. So still a lot of work to be done from the Williams boys. He was within that DRS, or tow range, shall we say now, than he was before. It's just how does he bring himself back into this and then maintain it for the next few laps towards the end of this Grand Prix. We do still, of course, have 6 laps if you include the remainder of the one that they're on right now. 7 if you include the one that they're on right now, sorry. It's just, this is a very long race now that the rain is here. It's going to be really tough for these drivers to stay completely, you know, consistent. Penalties have already been a factor for a lot of the drivers. In fact, I actually want to touch on that because it's 3 seconds for the top 4. Matteo has 12. Dennis has 9. Jonty has 3. Poppy, doing his usual self, will actually jump to P8 as a result of the penalty situation. He's very cozy right now as a result of that. And then you got 6 seconds for Higgsy. Vanier's got 6, and Safsa has 3. So consistency and cleanliness has definitely been the most important factor here today, and it's going to continue to be for the remainder of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, Matteo actually just got another warning as you said that, and you know, both Get Owned and Zones have been given extra warnings as well. So since they've had their penalties, so it's definitely not over in terms of the penalty front. You know, if Get Owned gets himself another penalty, this could completely throw him off the top step, and Zones could take it again. But right now, just with these conditions, everyone seems to be running a little bit wide, cutting corners a little bit too much. So
copy. I was going for a move down the inside of Jonty. Oh, there was nearly contact between the two of them. Copy just lost so much. I think he was kind of scared there that Jonty was just going to turn across him. That is the risk that you have when you go down the inside through that corner. You are running a real risk of Jonty or somebody else turning across you and losing your front end completely. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's all right. But yeah, just be aware for the guys in front. They're still struggling as well. As Copy also got a warning from that instant as he had to back out, and he's got a corner cutting warning. So yeah, everyone is making mistakes, and penalties are going to be coming in thick and fast in these conditions.
Yeah, 100%. We also have a little bit of a scrap going on as well down for P12. This is obviously for a non-points position, but they're going to enjoy every second of this whilst they can. Zones within almost within 1 second of Get On there. This is now a proper, absolutely have to pass him physically on the track due to the penalty that he has got. And also, Samidiot needs to start finding pace now. I think he was looking really good when it was in dry conditions. I don't think he was prepared for the fact that the rain was coming. Obviously, he did get screwed over with the safety car. He then recovered a little bit when the rain tyres were needed. But the issue is now is his pace is just not quite there. I don't know if it's that he's over-pushing, because I am also seeing that his ERS battery is very low. But yeah, he's just got so much to do and not a lot of time to do it in, I think.
Yeah, he did. I think he might have made a slight mistake in Sector 2 on the last lap and kind of burned all of his ERS as well trying to fix that. But he did lose 5/10 from that. But now he is matching Florian. You know, they're putting in pretty much identical lap times, so he does have the same pace as the guys in front, but he's just not able to make any impression upon them.
Well, we'll have to see what he can deliver going through this. As Higgsy and Vanier, they are still scrapping. Vanier went for a bit of a lunge. It didn't quite work out. Or, never mind, I'll take that back. It has. He is ahead. Vanier is comfortably in P12. Again, this is for a non-points position, but points may still be available. Never mind. No, if he gets another penalty like that, it's not. It's a done deal here. Zone's closing in on Getter now within that 1 second margin, which is what we want to see. Want to see them start to scrap it out in these final few laps. Zones realizes the pressure is mounting on him because we're running out of time. Although that little bit of a switch, they both had a little bit of a switch there. Matching mistakes. That's how you know they're close on pace, when they're making the same mistakes in the same manner, the same corner every lap. It's fantastic to see how closely matched these guys can be. Brownie closing in on Hugo's there.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of the gap there, but he's pulling it in, and he might be able to, you know, make some impression upon him. But looking at the times between Getland and Zones, it looks like Zones is about a tenth and a half faster per lap. But whether that's enough to actually pass when you get alongside, that's another issue entirely. Obviously, without the DRS, it really will depend upon, you know, the straight line speed and how much ERS you're able to manage. But Getland has got absolutely plenty of ERS to play with, so you know he will be able to defend himself well on the straight. So you're going to have to try and make an impression upon him in the corners.
Yeah, I think Zones is going to stay where he is, honestly. I think P2 is kind of the best that he's going to achieve today. I don't suspect that he's going to be able to get that move done on Get-On. Get-On just seems to be that much more comfortable in this scenario. Now I've said that, something's going to go drastically wrong, unfortunately, but you know, we move. Zone's actually closing massively. I take that all back. Suddenly he's looking really good. That was down to 4/10 there for a second. Brownie's in a similar boat. I think that's more Hugo's making mistakes than Brownie gaining, honestly. Because the gap times between Samidiot haven't really improved either, so we'll have to wait and see. I think actually Samidiot's ruined his chances of getting a podium now. That mistake there, he's a half a second away from getting into Top Tom's 3 second penalty range.
Yeah, I think you know, a little bit of extra ERS management would have really helped Samidiot, but he's been drained and it's caused him problems. But Hugo's now as well with a 3 second penalty is definitely going to drop out to Brownie. Not ideal, but he's not losing too much from it.
No, not really. Especially with everybody else behind is definitely covered off. Especially Matteo and Dennis in particular. The penalties are just a bit too high, but you know what? Get-On, I think I may have actually counted my blessings a bit too early. I think Get-On is actually very much under pressure now. Yes, the ERS is favoured towards Get-On than Zones, but it only takes one mistake, and you could have 100% battery and still not be able to recover it. If you take that one mistake at the wrong part of the racetrack, at the wrong part of the race, yeah, you're done. So we'll see now as we go through. We are only a few laps away from the end of this Grand Prix. We're not yet at wet weather tyres, and looking at the racing line still being there without that standing still water. Yeah, I think we're staying on Inters for now. There may be a switch to wet weathers later, but it's just not here.
Yep, and that's actually in just a few minutes' time that the rain is supposed to start coming down heavy. So we will see if these guys are still able to do what they're able to do. But right now, It's kind of the same conditions that they've been dealing with, and with that, Zones is able to just stay within that slipstream of get on, but he's not quite able to, muster up a challenge quite yet.
Well, we shall see. I'm curious, guys and girls in the chat, let us know who you think the driver of the day is today. We haven't done a vote for a very long time, but I'm wanting to hear what you guys think. There's a lot of people here that I think are great contenders. I mean, I would even give it to some idiot to an extent, because he has done such a fantastic job of staying mentally strong, because there's a lot of moments in this race where you could have just shut down mentally and said, nah, I'm done and that's it. I can't go any further. And he's not giving in. He's still looking at a P4. Yeah, P3 is no longer on the cards, it looks like. But that's still a very good result, considering he was at the back of the grid after the safety car came in.
Yeah, it was bad timing from the safety car more than anything else. It wasn't really much of a mistake.
Oh, sorry, Brownie and Hugo's got for a bit of a fight here, coming into the hard braking zone of the hairpin left. He's going to go around the outside. He's not quite got that maneuver locked in. Very well defended there from Hugo's. Brownie's going to have to sit tight for now. But Hugo's is showing that he is starting to crumble. And even Mateo's going to get onto that as well now. I mean, he was already kind of hanging into that 1 second margin, but, the penalty obviously going to bring him way outside of the points altogether. But this is still a great opportunity for Mateo to actually attack now. And just see what he can give these guys.
Yep, and Zone's got another warning there, so he is one warning away from another penalty.
Now, I mean, Amcast has just raised a very good point, and we've talked about this guy plenty of times. Copy. He normally gets the Carlos Sainz award for having no watch time whatsoever in a race. I mean, in fact, when we did watch him earlier, he was getting past left, right, and center. However, the one thing that you can always count when it comes to Copy is his consistency and cleanliness. He has 0 seconds of penalties to his name. 3 drivers ahead of him have a lot of penalties to their name. He does have to be careful, though, because Dennis is losing a lot of time to Mateo, who is in the tow range of Brownie. And if he can just get that a little bit further ahead, he should be covered off definitely to Dennis. Maybe even Yonti, if he pushes it a little bit further.
Yep, and the drivers are really going to be struggling now because the heavy rain is here.
Alright, well, I doubt we're going to be seeing anybody go into the pits, especially because at the end of this lap, we're on the final lap, so it's going to be just nurse it, manage it, and see how well you can deliver. So a lot of mistakes are being expected from a lot of the drivers. Maybe we'll see Zones get that second penalty. That he's only one warning away from. Maybe we'll see Get Earned have a similar sort of situation if the track is becoming very undrivable. But penultimate lap almost completed. The final is almost upon us. I have no idea how this race is going to end off, but I can tell you it's going to be a banger because Copy is already looking to try and get the inside there on Yonti. That's a mistake made from Yonti, it looks like, and the Copy trying to get a little bit fighty. He has a lot of ERS to deploy, and he's going to try and do that on the straights. There's no way that Yonti can defend against this, especially with his penalties. I don't think he's going to want to, but that should now give Copy that happiness, the great success feeling that he's going to have after many races of not having that feeling. It'd be great to see what he can do. Zones, though, he looks like he's losing time to Get Earned.
Yeah, they've both made mistakes, and the track conditions are definitely affecting them there, and Zones gets that another penalty there. They've been sliding and they've been catching it, and they've both been struggling, but Zones is keeping it on track, and Get On is keeping it on track, and Zones is just falling outside the areas, and that has cost him there. He cannot win this race. However, it does not look like he'll lose a position. Yeah. They've gained enough time over Top Tom, who it looks like he is struggling now in these conditions as well. He is tiptoeing around his corner, and the back end still stepping out. Florian there potentially could make some moves.
I think Brownie's going to go for a move, honestly. This is a very close little fight between him and Hugo's. This is for P6, remember. He doesn't actually have to pass him physically, but come on, if you're going to go for glory, you go for glory. And he's going to try and close in as much as he can. He's burnt every single percentage of his ERS to the point of where he is very much, he almost hit 0. He was on 1% there, but he's just not able to close in. I think Hugo's just has that little bit extra wing there. Less wing which is helping him in those straight lines, but it's not helping him in the corners, which I think ultimately contributed to him getting a penalty. But 2 corners to go then. Ghetto has driven such a fantastic race here. Yes, he got a penalty, but you cannot take it away from him. He drove so consistent, so clean, and so fast that as we come through the final corner, Ghetto will take the win here in the USA with Zones in P2. Top Tom, who has the 3-second penalty of his own, will finish in P3. Florian will cross the line and take P4. Some idiot will jump at least one of them. I don't think he's going to get the other. Oh, he doesn't. He stays P5. He's outside of it by almost a full second. Hugo's crosses the line and gets P6, but Brownie, due to his consistency, gets that position from him. Mateo crosses the line. Dennis is about to, but watch Copy here. He is about to hop, skip, and jump up to, I think, P9 now, because that gap between Mateo is a bit too far. He will not be able to get it. Yep, P9. Fantastic stuff. He still gets some points, but you'd have hoped that it'd have been a little bit more in this Grand Prix. 2 points to his name. Higgsy will get P13, and Safso, when he does make it to the line, will get P14.
Yeah, it's been a difficult day for Safso. You know, started on hard compound tyres and basically plummeted like a stone. But you know, he's done a good job in terms of he's kept it on the track. He's done, you know, he's only had the 1 penalty. He's done what he needed to do and just kept it alive. You know, kept the dream alive. But unfortunately, it's a P14 for him. But I just want to touch on the constructors' battle here. McLaren are actually moving closer to Williams in the constructors. Both their drivers outscored the Williams boys today. Hugo's did get the fastest lap, but that is more like a consolation prize, really. So a good day for McLaren.
Yeah, a fantastic day for McLaren, but you know, this just really hots the whole situation up because McLaren moving further closer to the P1 spot in the constructors. Ghetto extending his championship lead as well to Zones. McLaren overall are looking pretty damn good, to be honest. I mean, Florian leaves a lot more to be desired. Still, fantastic race from him. I don't want to take it away from him. He drove really well to get himself a nice juicy P4. But I expect a little bit more from him. Getting himself onto that podium would be what I would like to see. Yeah, again, not want to put him in the dirt because he still drove really, really well today in very challenging conditions. I mean, the track, even in dry conditions, is really hard. Then add the rain into that, it becomes even harder. So, still, big congratulations to McLaren overall, but bigger congratulations to Ghetto because a fantastic drive from P2 to P1. He two-stopped it, even with qualifying on the softs. It worked out wonders for him. He gets the race win with Zones in P2, Top Tom P3, Florian P4, Sumidiot P5, Brownie P6, Hugo's P7, and gets fastest lap as well. So an extra point in his pocket. Mateo getting P8. Despite the penalties, he actually still held on to that, so very well done to him. Copy, by being clean and consistent, actually gets himself up into P9. Yonti gets the final point, and Dennis gets best of the rest, with Vanya in P12, Higgsy P13, Safso being the only other driver to finish, with Danico, Vexit, and Huni being the DNFers from the race. Obviously, there is a verdict to be determined later by the stewards between Danico and Vexit. But what a Grand Prix that was. So I need to ask you then the most important question of any Grand Prix. You know what it is. Who's your driver of the day, please, Mr. Padgett?
To be honest, it's a really hard call. You know, Get On had such a great race. You know, in all conditions, he was really strong and consistent and fast. Hugo's coming way up from the back of the grid. You know, he's done a great job for Williams. But I think I've got to give it to somebody. You know, he went to the back of the grid at no fault of his own, still managed to keep his head up, fight back through. It looked like he could have made an impression to get onto the podium. It wasn't quite there. He couldn't quite get the feel for it in the wet conditions. But, you know, I think just the mental determination that he showed to get himself from, you know, dead last back into the top 5, I think that deserves the Driver of the Day award for myself.
Yeah, mental resilience was definitely needed there from Sumidia. I'm in agreement. I think Sumidia is definitely driver of the day. I think it's also close for Mateo as well. Like coming into this first race in, yes, he got a hell of a lot of penalties, but he still did really well to get. You know, with zero practice, he was only told 20 minutes before this race started that he was going to be participating. And I think to be able to still achieve a P8 despite the ever-changing conditions and how difficult it was for him to get into this race. You know, it's definitely a huge shout out to him, but yeah, driver of the day has to be some idiot. The mental fortitude you need to be able to bring yourself back from back of the grid Fantastic. Very well done. But now we get to hear from the top 3 on the podium. We're going to go into a little interview with each of the 3. So we'll get with Top Tom first. See if Zones is interested as well. Get him in there for an interview along with our lad himself, Getund, the race winner. Let's get the man, Mr. Top Tom. Here he is. Hello, Tom. How are you doing?
Doing good, thanks. Yeah.
Good. I mean, qualifying, you looked pretty good. You looked like you was ready for sorry, you looked pretty good at the end. You did have troubles getting some laps in. Was there just simple mistakes or was it intentional?
Just mistakes. Honestly, I'm not very good at USA. That's just the truth. Really inconsistent. And I try to. I mean, I know I can do the lap. Like I was able to do like 29.0, like, but just the consistency wasn't there. And then when it came to the actual session, just I couldn't pull it off. Lots of mistakes in my last lap. It is what it is. I knew going into it I was going to really struggle in quali. So to get the podium in the end, I'm really happy with, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it was a tough day out there anyway, you know, being dry 1 minute and then wet the next. Then it got even further wet as we got to the very end of the race. It was very difficult overall. But you know what? Still a nice, juicy P3 for your championship standings is looking pretty good. I do want to ask, though, in that race, there was a moment there where it looked like you just couldn't match the pace that the front 2 had as the race went on. Was there anything fundamentally wrong with your setup, or was it a you issue?
I mean, I don't think I've got the setup hooked, but no, I don't think that's an excuse because I don't think I have it perfect for these races. I mean, I think just a combo of my driving style not being very good at tracks with those types of long, slow corners, the way I have to trail brake, you know, through some of the turns and some of the slow speed corners. It just doesn't suit me at all, the track. And I think that was partly to play. Even when it rained, and that threw things in the mix, I still didn't quite have the pace at the top 2. So, I mean, there was a point where I could have undercut potentially come out, you know, fighting with them if I just picked the into slap earlier. But I don't want to risk it, and their pace was better anyway. So even if I got in the mix, they probably would have just pulled away. So yeah, happy with P3. I think that was my pace today. GG. Ghetto only did a really solid race in zones 2.
Yeah, they drove phenomenally well. P3 today, but next race is Mexico, if my memory serves me well. Is that a Top Tom track?
I think over one lap, that's actually one of my really strong tracks. The only thing is obviously avoiding invalidation and not picking up warnings in the race. But if I can manage that, I think that's a strong track for me. So as long as I don't make any silly mistakes, that could be a good one for. I think the last 3 in general look pretty good for me.
And if I was to say prediction?
I suppose just keep up the consistency with the podiums. I think at this point, I think that'd be a nice way to end off.
I'd have thought after all these interviews, you'd have learned how this one goes down here. I need some confidence from you. I need a juicy what you got for me. The podium's good, yeah, okay. It's boring though. It's not P1, is it?
Suppose so. I mean, I think I could have the pace to win, but we'll see. That's all I'm gonna say.
All banter aside, congratulations, honestly, on a really good and hard-fought P3. You drove very well, and I look forward to seeing what you can deliver for us in Mexico.
Thank you very much.
Now, if I can find Zones... No, it looks like he's not around, so we're going to have to skip Zones and go straight to our race winner, the man himself, Getund. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Well, P1. I mean, you can't get better than that, can you?
Yeah, it was a solid race, I have to say.
But you got a penalty, so we need to discuss that. What happened there?
Basically, it's just so hard to spot the apex in the penultimate corner, so yeah. Every warning I got was from there, so yeah. Unlucky, but yeah, I take it.
Well, I mean, yeah, P1, you can't really complain at that. I think the only thing you could have done better was get that fastest lap in there as well. But realistically, it was a hard-fought race. It was a very difficult one with the rain falling as well. Was there any point in there where you thought this might actually suddenly go south for me?
When it started raining, I knew just we'll try and avoid getting warnings because it's impossible to overtake in the rain. And yeah, that's basically what happened. Zones couldn't pass me. I always had enough ERS to use it on the whole straight, so yeah. But GG, he was definitely faster than me in the rain. But yeah, and also the safety car, I got pretty lucky. Yeah.
The other thing to ask is Mexico next week. Are you gonna? Top Tom actually told me. He said he was much faster than you and that he was going to get P1 easy peasy slaps. What you got to say in response?
I have to say that Mexico is one of these tracks I really enjoy. Basically, all 3 tracks that are coming up, I really enjoy driving them. So we will see what happens. But if he says so, he needs to prove it. So let's see.
I mean, I may have just put words in his mouth that he definitely didn't say, but
okay.
you gotta get some spice going. I want to hear what your prediction is then for Mexico. He said, and this is what he actually said, he thinks he can do pretty well. He's looking at a podium. What are you saying? Race win?
I heard
maybe
like
not.
that some people are quite fast there, at least some idiot, I think. And you can never underestimate Zones. He's on raw pace, he's really fast. It's gonna be, I think Mexico will be one of the closest races, I think. Also, strategy-wise, who is going to do the 2-stop or who is trying the 1-stop. So I will say that Mexico will probably be the most exciting race. So yeah. I'm not gonna give a prediction like P1 or something. I just think it comes down to who is managing the race like the best in terms of traffic or ERS management, something like that.
Well, okay. I'll just guess I'll see what you can deliver next week. That's all I can really do, I suppose. But congratulations on the race win. Very well driven today in such difficult conditions, and I look forward to seeing you do well in Mexico.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in USA. It has been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. Of course, I've been Ben Ragger McCollum. Joining me has been the lad himself, Mark Hornbadger Meiklejohn. You are Bay. Thank you. Love you. And